In the depths of darkness, where the light of reason flickers and the soul feels its most fragile, there exists a journey that all of us, at some point, must undertake. It's a descent into the unknown, a terrifying plunge into the abyss of our own psyche. This journey is called the dark night of the soul. But what is this mysterious descent? And why, despite its pain and disorientation, is it essential for spiritual and psychological transformation? In today's video, we'll explore the dark night of the soul through both psychological and spiritual lenses, focusing on how it serves as a necessary passage for transformation. We'll also compare the nigredo, the first stage of alchemical transformation, with mystical traditions, particularly the writings of Saint John of the Cross. The dark night of the soul is not merely a poetic metaphor. It's a psychological reality. It's a profound spiritual crisis, a stripping away of all that we thought we knew about ourselves, our identity, and our purpose. But it's also a necessary descent into the unconscious, where the ego meets its limitations and must face the shadow, the parts of the self it has long denied. In Christian mysticism, the term was famously coined by Saint John of the Cross, a 16th-century Spanish mystic. He described this dark night as a painful, purifying process where the soul, feeling abandoned by God, is stripped of attachment to worldly things. In his poem, The Dark Night, he writes about the journey of the soul that must journey through darkness to reach the divine light on the other side. Jung's psychology intersects with mystical traditions like St. John's. For Jung, the dark night of the soul could be viewed as a psychological descent into the unconscious. Nigredo, often symbolized by blackening, represents the darkness and death of the old self. It's a necessary process where the ego is dismantled, where the familiar structures of the conscious mind fall apart, and we encounter the chaos of the unconscious. In alchemy, nigredo is represented by the blackening of matter. The alchemist, in his search for the philosopher's stone, must first subject the raw materials to destruction and decay. It's a symbolic death before the new self can emerge. But what does this look like in practice? The dark night of the soul can feel like a loss of meaning, a psychological collapse, or even a spiritual crisis. It's when everything familiar falls away, relationships, goals, identity, and the person feels like they are no longer themselves. Many experience it as depression, a sense of emptiness, or an overwhelming feeling that they are lost. But as St. John of the Cross teaches, this darkness is not to be feared. It is a purification, an emptying of the soul that opens the path for a new birth. St. John writes, "The soul that is purged by this dark night will soon be filled with divine light and wisdom." This process of purification in the dark night parallels the alchemical stages of transformation. After nigredo comes albedo, the whitening stage, where the soul is washed clean, and rubedo, the reddening, where the soul is reborn and illuminated. Jung saw this as the unfolding of individuation, where the conscious ego integrates the unconscious, leading to wholeness and psychological renewal. For Jung, individuation is the process of integrating the unconscious elements of the psyche, the anima, the shadow, and the self, into the conscious personality. This integration requires us to confront the painful and unconscious parts of ourselves, which often emerge during the dark night of the soul. Though the dark night feels like a spiritual void, it ultimately leads to a rebirth. When we come through the darkness, we are transformed. The psychic collapse opens the door for something new, something more aligned with our true essence. Just as the phoenix rises from its own ashes, so too do we emerge from the depths of the dark night, renewed, wiser, and more connected to our authentic self. This is the great paradox. The collapse is not the end, but the necessary prelude to the rebirth.